Check, check. Woo! There is sound, yes indeed. All right, again, thank you all for coming to the Jones Walker Let Them Talk stage. We've had a great day of conversation and music and conversation, and it will be culminated here by two of the best kind of hip hop. I'm gonna call y'all impresarios, for lack of it. Can we go with that? Okay. Alfred Banks and Slangston Hughes, come on out, and we'll hear what they have to say. So, thank you, gentlemen.
I like your shirt, buddy.
You need more batteries for that shirt? We got something. Hey, 8 volt.
Check, 1 2 1 2.
Excuse me, let me get situated right quick.
Indeed. Hello, guys and gals. Hello.
Welcome, everybody. So, good morning, good afternoon, good night. I think before we jump into this, I kind of wanted to just take a collective deep breath, and I'm gonna describe why we're taking that breath in a brief moment. But if we can just kind of, on the count of 3, let's do it. 1, 2, 3, and then exhale. And the reason for that deep breath, just in case you didn't know, the gentleman to my right has been on quite a trek over the past couple of days. So starting on Thursday and still proceeding after today into tomorrow, correct? And then Monday as well, because there's a lot of voyage and a lot of travel taking place. So just let's talk about that track over the trek, over the past several days that you're going on right now. Let's start there, and we'll see why that breath is happening.
So right now I'm on tour with Big Frida, which is really cool. And Thursday we did Dallas, which is cool. So I drove from New Orleans to Dallas, which is about 7.5 hours. Did the show. I was late, but they were really nice though. They like held the door so I could sound check. It was really cool. Did that. The next day we drove from Dallas to Austin, which is about like 3.5, 4 hours, and did Austin. Austin was incredible. And so I went on stage at like 9:30, got off at 10 o'clock. I sat around for about an hour and a half, maybe to midnight, to sell merch. Merch was selling pretty well. Got back to my hotel around like 1:30. I got about 2 hours of sleep, and I drove from Austin to here. I got on the car like 4:30 in the morning and drove through. And I got to my stage maybe 15 minutes before I was supposed to go on stage. So I'm running on fumes right now. And then I'm doing this interview. Then after this, I'm doing like a video of some sort. You know what I mean? With my girl Tavia. And then after that, hopefully I get to the house around maybe 8 or 9 to get about 4 or 5, about 6, 7 hours of sleep, because I got to go to Houston in the morning to finish the tour with Frida. And then I drive back the next day. So, and I've been doing all the driving, which is a lot. But, you know, I asked for this life, and with the help of great people like Mid-Citizen, it's becoming a reality for me. So I could complain about the fact that like my brain is doing this weird buzzing thing, or like my chest hurts when I breathe, or like my diaphragm is sore, or I can go rock these shows and get some money. So, and I'd rather do the latter. So,
Diaphragms and Dollars. That sounds like
that sounds like a great album. No doubt.
So, I wanted to talk a little bit, kind of take the folks in the audience on a little bit of a voyage, kind of like starting, and we'll probably jump around a little bit. Of course. But I think. So before there was Alfred Banks, the MC, there was the adolescent, the individual that I remember.
Of course.
You know what I mean? There was the adolescent, the hungry, you know what I mean? The pink polo wearing, always ready for a freestyle, wherever, you know, it was taking place. Named Lyrics, the lyricist,
Indeed,
right?
Man. Indeed.
So back in the Gap, you know, I want to ask, how did that name come about for you? Like, what message were you looking to provide to listeners with that name?
So I used to like battle in high school, like at lunchtime. So the way lunch was set up, it was like there was the band kids. Then there was like the nerd geek crowd, which is who I used to hang with, and I used to hang with a couple of the band guys as well. And then over there was all the they probably weren't gonna they weren't gonna graduate crowd, like kind of over there, and that's where they did the ciphers. So I would go over there, and this is like 07, 06. So like this is when them franchise boys and like and my white tee was hot, right? So then there was this new guy by the name of Lupe Fiasco that was coming out around this time, and so because I didn't necessarily rap about like, you know, the violence that was kind of like prevalent in 06, 07 in the mainstream music, they just started calling me Lupe. Like, I was like, so if I ever hear somebody in the hood call me, someone call me Lupe, they either know me from high school or they know me from the hood. So I would cypher with those guys. And I would just kick mad bars. My first rap name was Stoic. I've never actually said that out loud. Yeah, it was Stoic. Oh yeah.
So where'd that come from? Before we jump
so
into
my brother James, his rap name was Shrewd, and so Shrewd means like smart. So I went in the dictionary. I was like, what word kind of sounds like stoic? It means like calm and cool and collected. Right. So I was like, yo, that's kind of hot. But I was wanted to do a new name because I couldn't really spell it funky, and this is, you know, when you got to put the Z on it or the whatever.
The dollar sign on the S.
You know what I mean? ASAP. So it was kind of like, you know what? I was having a conversation. I can't remember with who, but they were like, yo. Your rap name should be something you like, something that you represent. And I was like, well, I like kicking bars. I like metaphors. I like lyrics. And so I was like, okay, lyrics. And then the lyricist is just alliteration. So it sounds really cool when you say it off the tongue. So yeah, lyrics to lyricist, man, that guy. I graduated high school at 17, and I jumped out the gate, man. Dragon's Den right across the street. Mm-hmm. And as you guys know, like, and I've been knowing Slang for years. This is my big bro right here. So he knows, man. Like, I was the dude that like, everyone respected my hustle and grind. They're like, bro, you irritating. Like, shut up. Like, just stop. I get it. You rap. Like, cut it out. Like, right. You know, I remember being in the library and I was seeing two of my, when I went to Loyola University in New Orleans for a couple years. And I remember seeing a couple guys like just talking, studying in the library. And I remember walking up to them. And I started battling them in the library. Like, it was real. You gonna get these bars no matter where we at. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, lyrics was that guy.
and that's what, you know, for the folks that might not know, we call that rapidy. You know,
rapidy rap. Yeah, no doubt.
So and that's a good segue. So you just mentioned Dragon's Den, directly across the street from this venue. 10 years in the game. Take me back to that first day. That first night, I should say, at the Dragon's Den, first ever show, when you jumped on stage for the first time.
Well, quick backstory on that was there was me and my man Chris, he goes by Caesar. He's like my producer. Chris, I met him in 07, so this is 09, so I've been knowing him for about 2 years. And we had a school teacher that we would hang in his class. His name was Matiemba Bakir. Mr. Bakir is what we called him. And he found out that we rap, because around this time we had just put out our first couple songs on MySpace, and the songs had like 1,500 plays, and we just thought we were lit. Like, we just thought it was game over for the whole world, you know. As 1,500, that's crazy. It's crazy. But anyway, so we did that. And he found out we rhymed, and he was like, spit something for us, and we actually were kind of good. He was like, yo, you're really dope. Like, I know this dude named True Universal, man. He throws a showcase at the Dragon's Den. It's called Grassroots. You guys should come through. I'll put you in touch. And I was like, oh, word. And I was so excited. Like, yo, about to rap. And I remember I used to work at Winn-Dixie, the one in front of Woodmere on the West Bank. I went to Helen Cox High School. And so I remember saving up like 2 checks, which every week it was like maybe $110 like a week type of. And I remember doing that, and I went to American Apparel magazine. It's not there no more, but we balled out, boy. Ooh, I bought me a little black sparkling Michael Jackson jacket. You heard me? That. The one, if you look at it, kind of look iridescent. It kind of look like a diamond, like you don't really know what it is. I had a black t-shirt, black jeans, and I had these radii. They were like red, black, and like zebra. They didn't even have shoestrings. They had like the Velcro straps. They just looked like space boots. They were huge. But I just thought it was the flyest thing on the planet. And my man Chris, we're at the Dragon's Den, by the way. We're looking like shiny, you know, asteroids. And Chris has on a turquoise, white, and foil vest. It's foil, for God's sake. White tee. And he's a bigger guy, but he got on these skinny jeans. You can see his leg veins. It's crazy. And he's got the turquoise, white, and foil sneakers. So we in this, like, we about to kill the game. Like, we about to kill the game. And Fresher Peoples was our name. And I remember we pulled up to the venue. My mom dropped me off at the venue. And Chris' dad dropped him off. And my mama told me, all right, now, going in there, you give them hell, but make sure you get your behind back in there at 12 o'clock in my house, because if you come back at 12, you ain't getting in. So I was like, all right, word. We go in, man, and Truth actually forgot that he booked us. We ran up on him. And I was like, yo, I'm Alfred Banks with Fresher Peoples, me and Chris. And he was like, oh yeah, we did book you, huh? Y'all go first. I was like, all right, word. And man, he gave us the mic, dog, and that was it. And I remember, like, and Chris has told me a million times, he was like, yo, that was the moment I knew, like, I wasn't the rapper like you were. Because, like, my very first show, I was just jumping around. I was a little jackrabbit, like, and when my song, we split the set, and when my song came on, I went bonkers. Like, I lost my mind. It was really dope. And everyone was like, yo, that dude, he's kind of got it. He's doing his thing. So that was my very first show, man. And I remember going home that night, laying in bed, listening to Charles Hams. I was like, yo, I'm about to take over the world. I just don't know exactly how to do it, but I feel like I'm about to take over the world. So it's like my first show.
And I think that works perfectly for the next question, because it was going to be with you being in Fresher Peoples, and that's Fresher with a PH.
PHRESA.
For those that don't know.
SHA, Fresher Peoples. Oh, yeah, we was in. Oh, yeah, we lit.
So Fresher Peoples, this was a group that you already mentioned. Caesar's, frequent collaborator and your go-to producer.
It was me, Caesar, my man Jordan Pride, may he rest in peace, and my man Money Mel's.
Right.
Yeah, no doubt.
So with the group, what was your motivation to continue to grow as an MC within your art form, while some of your peers decided, to make other decisions within their lives?
The moment I knew, like, I was like, maybe this is more for me as a solo artist was I think it was like my third show ever. It was Howlin' Wolf. When there was this rapper, I forget his name, but I just won't say his name, but he was the champion. It was a freestyle championship called Off the Dome. And he was like champion like 3 months in a row. Like, he was kicking everybody's butt. And I did the set. So this is how crazy it was. This is how I know, like, I don't necessarily, believe in a lot of things, but I do believe somewhat in divine intervention. We get to the venue, the guy checks my man Jordan Pryor's ID, and he's 21, so he gets in. My man Money Mel's, he's 21, he gets in. He checks my ID, I'm 17. It's an 18-year-old venue. He just looks and gives it back. He checks Chris' ID, he sees he's 17, he doesn't let him in. And I was like, damn, how did he not get in, but I got in? That's crazy. And to this day, I always figure, like, why the hell did I get in there? And so Chris had to go home. His parents had to come get him, like, from the Howlin' Wolf. They live on the West Bank, so they were irked. But nah, man, we go in there, and Mark Caesar, he booked us for that show. Little known fact, Mark Caesar actually managed me for like 3 months, which was kind of cool. Didn't work out, but it was dope for him to have that foresight. But anyway, we do the show. First song up is Jordan, my man Raphael Sky. I'll tell you a little bit more about him later, but Raphael Sky, he goes up, the beat comes on, and he freezes. He completely forgets everything. He just like, and the crowd's not that big. It's maybe like 50 people, but it's Howlin' Wolf. So Howlin' Wolf is big. If you've ever been to Howlin' Wolf, it's like maybe fits like 1,000 people. So like 50 people look kind of, you remember those, it was like, used to be empty in them joints sometimes. Sometimes it was lit, but not. And he froze. So I thought of this verse on the top of my head. I just started freestyling. So I just took the mic out of his hand and I just started freestyling. Like boom, boom, boom. And I just kind of pushed him to the back, like, yo, just go back, don't worry about it. And I just freestyled for 4 minutes straight on his beat because I didn't know where the hook was or nothing. So I just did that. And then my man Money Mel's went up. And he remembered his raps, but he wasn't I shouldn't have said his name, but he's not a great performer. So I had to like hype man his set, jump around and add that energy for him to kind of suffice for his lack of energy on his set. Then my song came up and I jumped around on stage performing my joint. It was all super energetic. And I felt like Superman. And so I just like slammed the mic on the ground like, yo, I remember Mark being like, hey man, we don't do that, bro. No, we ain't hip hop. And he's right.
Still don't.
But I was like 18, like, you know what I mean? I just was like, yo, they didn't know what I had just did. I literally saved the set, you know what I mean? But from that moment, I was like, maybe I should do this more on a solo tip. And those guys were still around for like moral support. I'll say later on Jordan. Jordan is the reason why I recorded Blueology, which was my first mixtape. He gave me the Snowball microphone, which is like this like really cheap joint you can get at Walmart. It's like a USB joint. And he was recording, but he was like, bro, I don't know if this is really for me no more. So look, man, I got my laptop and I got my mic. You can have it. And he let like an 18-year-old kid finally get his stuff. I was like, yo, this is lit. So I recorded every day for like a strong 6 months straight. You know what I mean? So that was really dope of him. And I was really sad when I found out he passed. So shouts to Jordan, man. He literally helped start my career. So that's why I kind of figured like maybe I should just do this thing solo and kind of see what happens.
Gotcha. Cool. Well, with that being said, so you've been under the tutelage of a couple, several different talented MCs, right? So, your Lyric Hills, your Truth Universals, Mickey Fax,
and you,
Slangston Hughes.
Yeah, and you.
So,
I don't know who that guy is, but I heard he's
me
pretty
neither.
cool.
So, with that being said, who else or what inspires you both musically and lyrically?
Somebody at that time or just in general?
Just in general.
That's a who inspires me, not what. Who,
it can
right?
be both. It can be both.
So who inspires me? I'm real. All my favorite rappers aren't relevant anymore, right? It's period. And the reason why a lot of my favorite rappers, what I've noticed is when a rapper has his peak is when they're not making their best music. When they fall off and they need to get it back, that's when they start digging deep. And all my favorite artists are digging deep right now. And so they're making some of the best music in the world. And so I support those guys 100%. But people that like inspire me overall is like my man Mickey Fax. He was the first pretty much semi-famous rapper to ever like co-sign me. He took me on, I booked a tour, but he headlined it, so it was my first like national tour kind of vibe. In 2014, we did like 16 cities. It was really cool. It was a learning experience too, because I almost got in a fist fight with one of my favorite rappers. It was great. I'm being sarcastic. It wasn't great at all. But you got my girl. I remember calling Jessica and being like, "Yo, like, I think I'm about to I got a little bit of bread. I'm gonna catch a flight. I'm about to really punch this dude in the face. Like, he's wild, Mickey Fax, that's a big. My man Mega Ran. Mega Ran's is a dope nerdcore MC. He just performed at Madison Square Garden like 4 days ago, so he's doing pretty well. But he's another guy. He has an incredibly rabid fan base, and he took me on tour with him. He introduced me to a lot of people, and that selflessness is what really inspired me to rock with him. Quick story on him. I did a show in Lafayette in 2012 with a promoter I won't say, but the show was the worst show in the history of shows. And the promoter promised us each XYZ amount of money. But when the night was over, he had that amount of money in total. And so he was like, "Yo, what are we gonna do?" And I was like, I looked at Rand, because Rand was on tour with another guy. I was like, "Yo, just give them the money. I'm 20. I'll live. Like, I'll figure it out." You know what I mean? And from that, Rand walked up to me. He was like, "Yo, thank you, bro. What's your name?" Alfred, lyrics and lyricist. All right, word, man. Well, let's keep in touch, bro. And then we just started vibing ever since then, So Mickey Fax, Mega Rand, Lupe Fiasco. Lupe Fiasco to this day is the greatest rapper of all time in my book. His lyricism, his performance energy, what he was able to do doing what he does, being an incredible lyricist, performing in front of bazillion people and having hit records and platinum albums and gold singles and all this stuff. And his live performance just stuck with me. I don't know why, like the way he vibes with the crowd, especially from that like 06 to like 2011 wave that he had, it was nuts. And I got to meet him, and it was really dope. I opened for him at Xavier. I was in a group called New Renaissance. B. Mike actually managed that group for a little while, and we performed. We opened for Lupe, and I finally got the chance to tell him, like, "Yo, you don't even get it. The first album I ever bought with my own money was Food and Liquor." And that was the moment I knew I wanted to rap, because I knew I wanted to rap, but when I found out I wanted to do it professionally is when I heard Kick Push for the first time. I was like, "Wait, somebody else skate? Yo, this is so tight." Like, so I told him, "Yo, man, like, to meet you is an incredible honor to open for you, and dude, like, you're really dope." His response was, "It's like, yeah, no doubt." Just kept pushing. I was like, "Oh," but even still, it was like, "Yo, I got to meet him." And Lyric Hill, man, Lyric Hill's the OG. I'm big into sneakers, and when I found out he was too, that's kind of how we vibed. And the moment I just like fell in love with what he does is when he opened for Wiz Khalifa. He had on the Scottie Pippins. He jumped out the Scotties and he jumped into the Laney 5s, and I was like, boom. And when he pretty much like kind of hung the mic up, I was like, "Yo, Kill, can I like do what you did with the shoe switch thing?" He was like, "For sure, take it." So I kind of like added a little bit. I do the Mr. Rogers joint or whatever, and we kind of added on. But so he's my OG. And last but not least, True Universal, because he gave me my first show. You know what I mean? And, I feel like when it comes to hip-hop, underground hip-hop in New Orleans, like, everyone should know his name. Like, he should be way more celebrated than he is. True Universal is the GOAT, period. He put a lot of...
Many of us, myself included, for sure.
Pretty much did, like, even like 3D Not T and D1 and like Nesby Phipps, he gave those cats some of their first shows, you know what I'm saying? Like, that Grassroots ran, it was a showcase that ran for like 11 years. It's like one of the longest running hip hop shows in New Orleans. And it gave a lot of touring artists. I met Marcel P. Black like that. I met so many touring artists, you know what I mean, through that showcase. So those are the guys that inspire me.
So after high school, so you mentioned you went to Helen Cox, you graduated.
Yeah.
For you, when you started undergrad at Loyola, what was the reason for choosing college as a direction compared to jumping right into music after that high school degree?
So I got accepted. That was really it. I think I was like the first person to ever go to college in my family. So nobody told me that you're supposed to like apply to different colleges. I just applied to one, and I got a full ride. I was like, oh snap, I guess this is cool, huh? And the moment I knew it was cool, because when I was in class, I found out that like Miss Duckworth, I was in Miss Duckworth's class, and everyone was like, all right, Alfred, like, you know if you got accepted yet? And I opened the email in class, and it was like, congratulations, we want to give you like a full ride. And I was like, I broke down until I was like, yo, and everybody was like, because I was the first one to go. So that was really dope, man. And they had a music industry. It just kind of worked out. Like they had a music industry program they had just created like a year before. I was like, oh, that's tight. I'm gonna go to college, man. I'm gonna go learn how to do what I already know how to do. This is dope. And in all honesty, when I went to college, man, I was like, yo, I'm not about to go to class and learn. I'm about to battle these cats. You wildin'. I'm about to battle the teachers. Like, you tripping. Like, professors gonna know I got bars, cuz. Like, ASAP. You know what I'm saying? And that's literally what I did. So my first semester, I had a GPA of 0.6 because all I did was rap. And then that second semester, I was like, whoa, okay, I'm losing all these scholarships. All right, let me get back to the... Right. It was kind of too late, though. You know what I'm saying? But that's why I met G-Eazy for the first time. He was pretty much where I'm at now back in like 2009. And he was kind of buzzing, like people were kind of talking about him. So it was really dope. And around that time, man, it was like 5 rappers on campus. And now there's like an entire urban music program at Loyola, which is a beautiful thing. And in retrospect, I wish it could have been there when I was there. But it's good that those kids are getting that type of opportunity to learn about a genre of music that, you know, we do naturally or whatever. Right. So it's pretty cool.
So, I mean, this is working out perfectly for me strategically. So so you're meeting a lot of different musicians, producers, other rappers on campus and things of that nature. Talk to me about how you met and eventually collaborated with G-Eazy, who also went to Loyola.
I had a friend, mutual friend at the time that both knew me and him. I don't remember his name, but he was like, yo, man, you going to Loyola? Or they got this dude on campus named G-Eazy, man, you need to holler at him. And my first day, I won't forget, I walking on campus, and I'm a Charles Hamilton stan at this point. I got the headphones, I got the t-shirt over the long button up with the joint that's pink. They both pink. I got the pink kicks and the, you know,
all pink everything.
All pink everything all day. And so I'm walking on campus, and I see G, and he's like this tall white kid with the. This is back when he was like hipster, so he had like the frameless, the lensless frames with the acid wash jeans and the Jordans on. He had a like a red, purple, and green dashiki on. So I walk up to him and I'm like, yo, my name is Lyrics or Lyricist. You want to rap? And he was like, nah, bro, I don't really want to rap like that. I was like, nah, peep me out, I can rhyme. And I kick bars at G, and it was awkward. He was like, yeah, you dope, and he kind of like moves away, walks off. Oh no, anybody could get these bars, cuz. But later on, man, my man DJ GQ, who's doing really well right now, I linked up with him randomly on campus one day, and he was like, yo, I'm about to go by G House to just kind of vibe out. I was like, all right, cool. And so at this point, all the 5 of the rap, well, there's 5 of us in total, maybe 6, but let's just say 5. 4 of them had already collaborated with G in some regard, whether they got a song mixed by him, a beat by him, or did a verse from him, got a verse from him, whatever. So I walk up. This is around when The Epidemic dropped his first album. The dude, I always like commend G because like he's a huge superstar now, but he shot his own album cover, wrote the rhymes, mixed it, mastered it, pressed it up himself, shot his own music videos. How do you even do that? Shot his photo shoots, his own photo shoots. The dude hustles so much. So where he's at now is just a byproduct of how hard he works. But I see him and he's changing his tire. And like I want to help, but I don't really have no manual label skills. So I'm like giving him, you know, support, moral support while he's doing it. And but I help him out. I'm like pat him on the back and stuff. And after he's done, he's like, yo, you want to like go in the studio and like, you know, just check out some beats? I was like, yeah, no doubt. And so he played some joints, and he played the beat for the song we got called My Style. And I was like, yo, this shit bang, ooh. And the hook was, undercrown crew neck, hundreds on the snapback. Haters will observe and they ask me where I copped that. Where'd you get that? You don't know about it, don't trip. Where'd you get? And I was like, yo, this is like when the hipster movement was popping. So all the underground clothing brands were like the thing to talk about. And I was like, maybe that wave might not stick around for too long. Let me switch this hook up. I got my style, so I'm doing my thing, whatever. So we did that record, and he gave me the beat for free, man. It was really cool. And we collabed, and that song was in 2011, and I'm still promoting it 8 years later because he's huge. But nah, it's one of my favorite records, dog. That was my first song. I feel like outside of Amazing Day, I feel like that was the first song I got like somewhat notoriety. Because then right after we did that record, it was 2012, and then G dropped Endless Summer. And that was when the Runaround Sue record hit 1 million. And that was back when hitting 1 million views actually meant something. And it was game over. Like, he took off. He did a tour with Drake, and that was it. So, and I remember last time I seen him probably like 2 years ago. I was like, bro, you took over the world, dog. He's like, yeah, man, it's really dope lyrics. And I was like, I'm Alfred, dog. I was like, but it's love, though. Much love. Do your thing. Keep pushing, dog. So it was really cool. Every now and again I'll text him. He'll actually answer me back. It's pretty cool. So
more of the story is moral encouragement can get you places.
I can't help you turn that axle, my guy, but I can pat you on the back while you do it. Let's go.
So we're going to transition a little bit to, before we do that, so for the past several years, entrepreneurship is, something that's become way more viable in the past couple of years,
of course.
For millennials and whatnot. What influenced you to make that move from school to pursuing music full time? Let's talk about that.
I became homeless. So I was like, oh, you're right here too. That's really dope. So I was homeless, and it was a choice between do I like work hard enough to get my scholarship back so I could like finish school and be homeless while I'm doing it. I used to like I forget the name of it's not Nunamaker. I forget the name of the hall, but it's like where it's like a Catholic school. So like the center where like the church is, there was like this room. And they used to have like a container of pretzels and a container of like M&Ms. And if you signed up for like a like studying abroad thing, you could get like some of the stuff. So I would just sign up like 5 times a day and just grab a handful so I could eat for the day and shit. So like I was like, I could do that, or I could just drop out, get a job, stack my bread up, and get an apartment. And there was this guy named Justin LeGrand, and he just like ran up on me. He was like, bro, I don't really know you that well, but like, you can come stay with me if you want, dog. Like, Stack, you a young dude. You trying to make something shake. And that's him, by the way. It's Justin.
Yeah.
So he was like, oh. So he was like, I'm not. So he was like, nah, man, you come stay with me or whatever. And I was like, cool. So I stayed with you like, what, 2 months, 3 months? Month and a half. I'm terrible with time. But Stack, I got a job or whatever at the spot, and I stacked my bread up, stacked a couple little whatevers, and one got me a little apartment, a little studio joint down by the river bend, and I was able to stack up. So that was like, for me, the decision. It was like, yo, I can't finish school. And I learned a lot in school, though. I learned about this thing called Spotify that was just coming out. I was like, oh, yo, maybe I should jump on that. It's pretty cool. And CD Baby, which is like a little way to like distribute your music through all the outlets or whatever. So I was like, all right, cool, maybe I could do this. And it's like, I don't have a choice. Like I don't say all I know how to do is rap, but like what I really like to do is rap, and all I want to do is rap. So I'm gonna just do everything in my power to rap. And but I remember like, and anyone who knows me can attest to this, I would skateboard from the river bend all the way to here, the Dragons Den, to do like a 1-song open mic. And I would skate all the way back home. Just like, I just wanted people to hit me really bad, Or I would walk from, I had my stuff in stores when I was homeless. I had my stuff in stores on St. Charles. So I would like go in stores and like change outfits and keep like clothes in my backpack and stuff, you know what I mean? So I just really wanted to rap, man. I just wanted everybody to hear what we had to do, what we had to say. And I think it worked out. It was pretty cool.
I would agree, for sure. So let's take it from, we always want to keep it in New Orleans, but at the same time, New Orleans on a more of an international, global level. So with that being said, when you meet fans in other cities or, outside of the country, even for that matter, outside of our collective sound per se, right? What about New Orleans or your relationship to the city is happening during those discussions? When you meet fans at the merch table or after the show.
Everyone's like, yo, y'all got the best food, best music. Man, look, to say I'm from I'm so proud to be from this city, man. Like, we have a rep, we have a reputation, and every city I go to, I remember I did a show in Scranton, Pennsylvania. Yeah, this is true. This is true.
Dunder Mifflin, shout out.
This is true. And I did a show there, and the dude heard me rhyme or whatever, And he was like, yo, you from New York, dog? Where you from? You from Jersey? I was like, nah, I'm from New Orleans. He's like, where are you from? Yo, man, I just thought it was Lil Wayne and Ace Hood. I was like, Ace Hood? But he was
Who's
like,
from Miami, by the way?
All right. I was like, yo, I love New Orleans. Dog, New Orleans is dope, man. Hot Boys, No Limit was dope. And I get that everywhere I go. Everyone loves New Orleans, man. Everybody loves the city. Like, it's wild. Like, when I was in, like Cali, I did a show at LA a while back. I did this little week of shows or whatever. And dude, like, oh man, you from New Orleans? Man, I go down there every year for voodoo. I go to Jazz Fest, whatever the case. People love it here. And so once people learn I'm from New Orleans, they like me more. They're more inclined to check out the music, go check it out, because the city's just dope, man. Like, it's just dope. Like, the city is just wild good. And all these other places I go to, they have their own thing. Chicago has a very incredible, sense of history on their own, and LA and like New York and Miami, all these. But there's no place like New Orleans because they all won't come here. You know what I'm saying? They got cats that live in the city, the mecca of hip hop and stuff, but they moved down here to make it happen. Like my man G, he lived in the Bay, but he came to New Orleans and popped off and then did his thing. You know what I'm saying? So New Orleans is a dope place. It's not really that great for hip hop. I just keep it 100. It's not like without being too crazy, it's just not a great place to really. You know, it's a good place to like realize that how hard the world is, because if you could make it here, you can make it anywhere. Because some New Orleanians have pride in going to hip hop shows and just doing this. Mm-hmm. And then you get off stage, like, oh, you were dope. It's like, why you couldn't, you know? So like, why you couldn't do that while I was like on stage? But you do that for years, like I did. You just kind of get used to it, and then you go somewhere else, and like you just get embraced. You realize, oh, this was just preparing me for this. You know what I mean? It's making me a better performer, making me a better, better with my breath control. It's like, oh, this isn't working to impress you. Oh, maybe this, and then kind of figuring it out on the fly. And it helped me become an incredible MC, because when I started impressing crowds in my hometown, I was like, oh, all right, we got something here. You know what I mean?
So a lot of rappers right now are hitting the road, getting out there and touring is, a viable, way to make money. When you're repping New Orleans, outside of the city, what exactly is Alfred Banks representing?
I represent Underdog Central. Underdog Central is the place where the overlooked go to hone their skills to come back and become the admired. For me, Underdog Central, like, I feel like when I first came out, I was an underdog. And so I had to like kind of go back in my my proverbial bat cave and kind of perfect what I do. And that mind frame that you have when you just hammered a nail, like grinded it out, that's what Underdog Central represents. And that's why like all my social media and stuff is Underdog Central. That for me is like a mental space you go to when you just won't be defeated. You know what I'm saying? That's what I represent. Pretty much everywhere I go, dog. Like I have this like, I've learned how to somewhat control it, but I have this just insatiable appetite for success. Like, it's just wild. Like, I want to win by any means, and I don't care what is in my way. I'm going to get over it. Like, you just can't, without sounding ridiculously cocky, like, you just can't stop me, dog. Like, I want to win because I don't have no choice. At this point, rap is like all I got, like as it pertains to like a viable source of income and like things like that. Mm-hmm. It's all I got, bro. So if you in my way for me getting this W, like you about to get Jerome Bettisted. You know what I mean? I don't play none of that, dog. So that's like my passion. You know what I'm saying? So.
Word. So we're gonna fast forward a little bit, and I mean, you talked about Blueology, you talked about Amazing Day Live. So we're gonna take it to the beautiful. So when discussing the beautiful, we have to mention this project debuted number 12 on iTunes Rap and Hip Hop chart. Billboard Top 100 Heat Seekers. You know what I mean? Talk to me about your process when writing and recording that album.
So it was really like losing my brother. That was like the spark. So I had another manager. I won't say his name because he's a dweeb, but I was talking to him and he was like, I was writing an album. And I ain't gonna go crazy. I was writing an album I was writing the album and I was like, yo, like, I want to just like bar it out. I just want people to know I can rap. He was like, nah, man, you should do like a concept record. You should do like a concept album. Blogs love concept records, something to like kind of break apart and like kind of jump into and really get. And I was like, all right, cool. And I didn't really know what happened. But then like on March 20th, 2014, I got the news my brother passed. And so that like sparked the album. But I was like, why did he pass? Mental health. He had schizophrenia. He committed suicide. So I was like, what's schizophrenia? Because I'm from a black family. If you got mental health issues, you pray it away, period. Get out of here. Like, that don't even exist. Go pray and get it over, you know? So I was like, what is schizophrenia? And so I did research, and I did a lot of like Googling and all these things. And I was like, whoa, like millions of people suffer from this thing. What is this, man? Like, and my brother was like the biggest, toughest guy that I know. So if it could take him out, I was like, yo, it's gotta be serious. So I did a lot of research on different things. And I was like, maybe I could write an album about it. And I was like, I don't want to write like a tutorial on how to deal with schizophrenia. I don't even know if I can make that entertaining because it'd be just so dense with information. But on the day of his funeral, I had to like leave early because I had a show that night, and that young lady drove me to the show. That ride was incredibly emotional, just ups and downs, remembering my brother and talking about him and stuff. So I was like, maybe I should write an album about the car ride from the funeral to the show. And like, so I kind of added in the album that on that ride, I kind of developed schizophrenia, and I kind of battled it throughout the album. I don't have it in real life, but I just felt it would kind of, add layers to the project. And it took me about like a year to really write. It's the longest project that's the longest it's ever taken me to write a project. But that's my baby, man. To this day, like when I do shows, the only physical CD I have on my table is The Beautiful. It came out 2 years ago, but it's the only physical like CD. Cause some people, I have a jump drive for sale that has like everything I've ever put out. But there are some people that don't want to jump that deep into the catalog just yet. So they're gonna take a chance, and I want that to be what they take a chance on. And most of the time when people hear it, they go, man, I've been, the past 2.5 years, man, and I'm so like, I guess lucky for people to feel comfortable enough to share these things with me. People have been sharing stories about, there's a young lady, her name's Kathy Hobb. Her husband died from cancer, and she was gonna commit suicide until she heard my song, A Funeral of Alfred Banks, and she said it stopped her from killing herself. And she came to my show, and she like cried and was like, oh man, it's a moment. And I did Voodoo Fest, and when she came to Voodoo Fest, she had my shirt on, but she like screen printed a picture of my face on it, my birth year on the back, had like my name Banks at the top. I was like, whoa, you like this is dope. And she was like, cause of your album, man, this really changed my life. I have another young lady, her name's Jessica Woodgard. She lives in Chicago. She drove from Chicago to New Orleans to see me rap. Like, that's 12.5 hours. You know what I mean? And she came up to me. My girl can be witness that she gave me, so her oldest son is in a mental institution because of what he's going through. And so his younger brother wrote a letter to his older brother, like, why you have to go? Like, this really sucks. I miss you. She gave me a copy of that letter. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, yo, like, these words that I'm saying, like, means more than even I understood. So, like, that changed my entire view of, like, music. And plus it being my most successful project to date, it changed my entire trajectory of my career. And I always wanted people to know, because as you guys know, early in my career, all I did was rap about rapping. Like, yo, I rap so good because I rap good. And now I was like, yo, I want to show people I actually can go there. You know what I mean? And I did it, and people really love it, so.
Dig. So you mentioned just now that it took about a year to record that project, but before, and correct me if I'm wrong, it took a couple years between projects, correct?
Yeah, because my last project before that was 2013 with Dreamers If You Live Forever, They Live. Gotcha. And then The Beautiful came out, and I mean, I dropped like a mixtape, but that was like maybe 3 years after that. So it was like 4 years with no music, you know what I mean, before I dropped something. Because I drop music and then I work it to death, which is actually the opposite of what you do now. You drop 16 projects in a day, and then you try to flood the entire internet. But I still kind of believe in you drop something, you give it a little room to breathe. But I didn't really drop nothing in the midst of that, and then I dropped The Beautiful, and it kind of went crazy, so it was really dope.
So with The Beautiful, there was a conversation that you had with your favorite rapper, Charles Hamilton. So talk to me about that. How did that influence the outcome of that project? Like, what changed between that time period before and then after the conversation with Charles?
So there's a rapper named Charles Hamilton. This dude is incredible. He has had a lot of things go on in his life to this day even, but he is a musical savant. He produces his own stuff, mixes and masters it, writes it. Dude is incredible. He can really rhyme. He goes there emotionally. He can give you bars. He's incredible. And he really influenced me. And my man Mickey Fax was on the XXL magazine cover with Charles. So when I started vibing with Mickey Tough, I remember the first time I opened for Mickey, he told me years later, he was like, dude, when you first opened for me, I remember going back and telling Charles, like, dude, they got like a Charles Hamilton stand down in New Orleans that just like loves what you do, bro. And he was like, wow, that's really cool. So I was gonna put out The Beautiful, in a different iteration of the concept, maybe like 6 months, about 6 months before I put it out. And Mick was like, yo, it's not ready, dog. Like, cause he has an album called Mickey Mouse, which is just like bonkers. It's so good. But like, and he knows concept records. He was like, yo, it's not ready yet. And I was like, no, it's ready, it's ready. He's like, no, it's not ready yet. And he was like, I know somebody who can tell you it's not ready. And he put me on the phone with Charles. And I was like, I lost my mind. I was like, yo, you don't know what you, high school, man. Like, I listen every day. Like, it was wild. But he was like, yo, I think you should go back. I listened to the album. I was like, bro, you know I make music. What is going on? And he was like, yo, I listened to it. I like it. You should refine it a little bit more. Go back, do a little bit more research, think about it. Some of these records, you're not hitting the points you need to. I was like, okay. And I went back and did it. So to have him give me that advice, and then flash forward a couple years, I think it was mid last year, I built a relationship with homie. Like, he's like a friend now. And then on Facebook, he was just like, yo, I want to work with Alfred Banks, like on Facebook. And I was like, bruh, like, what is going on? And even now, I'm not like as rabid of a fan as I once was, but he still has like the utmost respect for me. And I was like, dog, I screenshotted, posted on Facebook, Instagram. Everybody was like, yo, because everybody know how much I love Charles's music. You know what I'm saying? So we did a record. It's going to be coming out a little bit later in the year. So.
Nice. So with the beautiful and the inspiration behind it being the death of your brother Orlandis, what's the one thing that you would like the general public to know about him? What would that be?
He was selfless, incredibly selfless. So there was like a 10-year gap where I hadn't seen my brother, from like 2002 to about 2012. In retrospect, the reason why was because he was going through what he's going through, and he didn't really know how to tell us because he was such a prideful man. But he was selfless as all get out, so selfless. In retrospect, I know why he did it now, but first time I seen him, he pulls up to the house and he has a trunk full of studio equipment, like $3,000-$4,000 worth of studio equipment. The speakers, I still got it. Mic stand, the mic, laptop, program to record and stuff. And I'm like, yo, this is why. He's like, Merry Christmas for the last 10 years. And I was like, man, that's really dope. Selfless, man. Like, and I made this realization a couple months ago. The reason why my brother committed suicide was because the schizophrenic voices was telling him to hurt our mom. My mom said one day she woke up and my brother was like standing over her crying and like panting and like the voices were telling him to do something wild. So he like took himself out so he wouldn't do it. That is the ultimate in selflessness. So that's what I just want, I just want people to know. And he could rhyme, dog. He was so good. He almost got signed to No Limit in the late 90s, man. He was really dope. So he was an incredibly selfless young man, and I miss him a lot.
Rest in power to Shrewd.
Turn up.
So what I'm getting from the project is that, it was definitely something that was therapeutic.
For sure.
How do you feel the album helped you heal from his death, or is that something that is still ongoing? I mean,
even today, like in my set, I cried just because like the moment was so epic. I wish he could have been there, but I haven't gotten over it. I've gotten past it. Like, it doesn't sting as much as it used to just thinking about him. Like, I could talk about him now and not cry, you know what I mean? Like, it used to be I just cried a drop of a hat thinking about him, but it just helped me like understand what he was going through. So now I know why he's not here, and I'm not as mad or as hurt, because I didn't really get a chance to build with him, because like he was back in my life for like 2 years before he left. So I didn't really get a chance to build with him. My relationship with my family is just weird. I won't go into that crazy, but it's just weird. We're really distant. So like, even though he was back in my life, we didn't really talk a lot. Like, we would talk a little bit, but we didn't talk a lot. So I didn't really get a chance to build with him. But he did support my music like 1,000%. Last thing he ever did, selflessness. Last thing he ever did, he was like, we were talking, we was having a phone call, and he was like, blah, 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 you good, son? And I was like, yeah, I'm great. He was like, no, you good? You need any bread or something? I was like, I mean, I'm all right, dog. Like, no. He's like, dog, you need something? And I was like, I mean, dude, you could like, you just like, man, just go on my website, buy some merch, dog. Like, I'll send it to you. Like, just give me like $50. He was like, all right, cool. He went on my website and spent like 300 bones. That was the last thing he ever did before he passed. He just like bought like $300 worth of merch just to give me the money. He was like, bro, as long as I'm here, I got you. Whatever you need, I got you. So again, another level of selflessness. So just remembering those moments, knowing, understanding why he did what he did, even though I was hurt that he's gone, it kind of makes it a little bit easier to kind of cope with. So Yeah.
So like, when discussing mental health, and that's something that's, even though it's still taboo to a degree, it's something that you're seeing a little bit more prevalently.
For sure.
So, your Kid Cudis, your Kanyes and things of that nature, right? Are putting that in the music, or you're seeing it more visibly. So I recently read that you've been, doing some work on yourself, attending therapy sessions and things like that.
Yeah.
Throughout that process, what have you learned about the man behind the music?
It's weird, man. Like, I won't be incredibly candid, but I'll be a little bit candid. Like, I was a terrible friend. I was just so focused on music, dog. Like, music, and more music. Like, a lot of my relationships just weren't flourishing the way that they could have, like from my personal relationships to like my friends and stuff like that. And so I learned that, like, as important as music is to really get it popping, it's not the only thing on the planet. And that was like the biggest thing for me, was learning, like, you have to be a human. You have to be human, and being okay with getting your feelings out. And I was big on, like, if somebody did something to me that like kind of hurt me, I would just like kind of bottle it, like kind of swallow it and just like let it rock. Now I've been a little bit more vocal when someone does something that like kind of disturbs me or like makes me like a little bit irked. I practiced that a little bit earlier today on the ride here. I don't really like yelling, but I had to like kind of, what I'm saying, let people know, like, yo, we not doing any of that. But that's kind of going to therapy. It really taught me like who I am as a person. There was some faults I had, some places I fell short. And it was to kind of work on those things. And my biggest thing now, man, I give people their flowers while they're here. I tell people thank you 1,000, to the point where they be like, dude, shut up. I'm like, nah, man, thank you, because I truly mean it. Because people have done some things for me. That was another thing that people said in the past, was like, yo, we'll do stuff for you, and you don't even really, I don't think you grateful for it. And it's like, y'all have no idea like how grateful I am. Because like, this guy took me on my first out-of-town show ever. This dude right here. And I'm grateful for that, because it gave me the experience to rap in front of another crowd. I don't forget stuff like that. So for me, it was teaching and showing people like, no, I'm grateful, dog. Like, if I can say it with words, or maybe if there's an opportunity I can share with you or whatever, I want you to know that. So that's like my biggest thing. I tell everybody thank you 1,000 times. One, so they know it's real and they know I genuinely mean it. And so they can always remember that I truly, really care. And thank you so much for whatever you do. So it's a big thing.
So in conclusion, fast forward a little bit to 2019. So you've already done one tour with Tank and the Bangas. There's another one coming up in a couple of weeks. Yeah, currently on tour with Big Frida, managed by Mid Citizen, that works with Tank and the Bangas, Big Frida, The Suffers, etc. What do you feel has changed about your career? I guess we can talk specifically we can talk about since the beautiful and now. I guess is more of a concentrated effort within that time period.
People take me serious now. Like, people take me serious and they appreciate my passion more. You know what I mean? When I was first coming up, man, it was just like, oh, a little rapidy rap dude, like whatever, man. And then I kind of like made it through the generations of rap that was popping off in the city, like the hipster movement, and then like the super gangster movement, all that. And I just stuck to my guns. I kept rapping the way I rap, rapping about what I rap about, making the music I make. And people just saw like, oh, 10 years later, he's genuine. He actually still keeps doing what he's doing. Oh, let me go check out his music. Like, you know what I mean? I made it through that. And credibility, man. Like, I've done, my whole thing always was like small victories. Stack up 1 million small victories. So when people ask you about yourself, you sound like you're important. Like, I had my Pandora station. That was like my biggest thing for a long time. Like, oh, I got Pandora station. And then when Complex named me one of the top 10 rappers from New Orleans, which was really cool. And I was on the list with like 3D Nati, D1, my man Pell, Chasing Cash, LG, a bunch of other guys. And that was big. So like, all right, cool. Now I'm the dude that was named on Complex. And then like Fader posted me. Fader. And then like I won the Revolt thing. It was like, all right, cool, Revolt. And so like, it was just small victories. But then if you look back at my track record, and I say this like, with no hesitation, I have one of the best track records of an underground rapper in New Orleans. Like, if you put my track record next to any of the top guys, I'm going what for what, period. Like, it is what it is. But credibility is what really formed in the past couple years, man. And like, my live show just got better. Mm-hmm. I started like honing in on a couple things that I felt was like I needed to tune. And I got more comfortable rapping in front of bigger crowds. I was the king of the 60-person crowd. Like, I rocked the brakes off 60 people. Like, we in there. Like, it's like 49. All right, cool. We good. But then I did Voodoo Fest, and I rapped in front of a lot of people. And that was Bayou Boogaloo. Bayou Boogaloo was like the first big ass stage that I rapped on. I was like, yo, that's the day I realized, okay, I'm not gonna be a jackrabbit. Cause that stage was like a football field.
Right.
I was like, bruh. So I learned that day, like, chill out. And then Voodoo Fest was like, okay, I chilled out, but now I have to learn how to rock these many people because I don't have a hit record, so don't nobody know my music. So like, I mean, I had fans in the crowd, no doubt. People knew it, but like the masses don't know my music. So I have to get past that. And I don't know what it is about human nature, but the unfamiliar is like the most uncomfortable thing on the planet. People don't like being in places where they're unfamiliar doing things. So if I don't know your music, I don't like your music, just out the gate. So I have to get past that. And I have to and I had to understand that I'm not rapping my music at people. I'm entertaining people, and that's a difference. It's a big difference. And being on the road with people like Tank and the Bangas, who literally have the greatest live show I have ever seen in my life. Frida doing what could be considered a very like one lane genre of music and rocking thousands of people. It's like they do two different things, but they kind of do the same thing in the sense of their mastery. Sweet Crew, they're incredible too. Flow Tribe, these guys are awesome. So it's like, I don't have a band with me all the time. So how can, and I don't have a hype man. Sometimes I don't even have a DJ. So like, how can one human being recreate the energy of like 10 people on stage? I have to have like wit, personality, bars, energy, and relatability. And that's what I practiced for the past like 2-3 years. And things are working out.
So thank y'all for being here. Alfred Banks, making 10 years in the game coming this June.
Yeah, man, 10 years, bro. 10 years, man, it's wild. So look, I have a show, Howlin' Wolf, June 21st. It's my 10-year anniversary show. So if you guys could come out, show love, that'd be really cool. So.
Thank y'all.
Slangston, when's your next? You got a show or anything coming up?
Yeah, like in a couple
Like
hours.
20 minutes?
At 8 o'clock, I'm at the Jazz and Heritage Center on Rampart, taking place in, it's a show called Symbiosis with Mario Abney Quartet, myself, Gion Smith, Icon, a couple other folks. So yeah,
Beautiful.
Like 8 o'clock, like today.
All right, y'all. Give it up. Alfred Banks, Slangston Hughes. All right. Thank you. Thank you all so much for coming out. We will be back tomorrow with Allison Fensterstock and Dana Kurtz and Robin Barnes. Gwen Thompson's going to interview Maggie Kerner and James Andrews by Maurice Carlos Ruffin. So make sure you come out for that. We start at noon. Thanks for coming, y'all. Appreciate it.